Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Story Hour. I'm your host, Daniel Marcus. My wonderful co-host is Laura Blackwell. And I hope that you're all safe and healthy, taking care of yourselves and taking care of the people you love. Um, we started Story Hour 4 years ago, almost to the day, I think, in the throes of COVID lockdown, uh, with the intention of just wanted to create a space for my writer friends and I to get together and share our work and create a little bit of community, a little bit of light in the season of weird, And shortly after we kicked off, Laura joined me as co-host, and since then, it's just been a rocket ship, man. I mean, uh, we've had just amazing authors, 4 years running, every week in, week out, except for the week between Christmas and New Year's. I don't know, a couple of hundred authors by this time, uh, from really every corner of the big broad tent that is speculative fiction. So it's been a real privilege, and we're back again. Uh, and this week, we're really happy to welcome Jen Brown and Brent Lambert. Um, the way this works is really simple. I think of this as like one of the oldest forms of entertainment in human history, which is folks just sitting around the fire telling lies to each other. And so every week, that's exactly what we do. Um, so we are going to kick off the program tonight with Brent Lambert. Brent is a Black queer man who heavily believes in the transformative power of speculative fiction across media formats. As a founding member of Faya Literary Magazine, he turned that belief into action and became part of a Hugo Award-winning team. He resides in San Diego, but spent a lot of time moving around as a military brat. His family roots are in the Cajun country of Louisiana. Brent, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm really happy to be here. Oh, so I just dive in.
Yeah,
All
just
right, awesome.
rock it.
Cool. Um, so I have a short story. It's a fantasy short story. It's called "The Revolution of Masks." In terms of content warnings, there is discussions of grief. There is parental death. So those would be my two biggest ones. For anyone that's listening. Having to bury his parents left Sable confused and dissatisfied for all the things they never got to answer. An only child to parents without any living siblings, he buried them alone. His salary as a military financial advisor could cover the potential funeral costs. In the time of civil war, that boon couldn't be claimed by many. Coming to this backwater part of Aristotle filled him with introspection. 9 years of missed opportunity since he last saw his parents. They weren't happy with him then, and he didn't imagine they smiled at him from the afterlife of Okaro's abode. He always joked they would be waiting for him with a frown when he died. He stood on the porch of their estate and looked out onto the many acres his great grandfather had bought from the red masked Saboran. How brave did that man have to be to approach that monster? Even at this very moment, the red masks worked their oppressive magic on the country, and the purple masks fought back. Neither side appealed to Sable, but it had been the red that paid him. Sable wished he could draw on some of his ancestors' courage for himself. He didn't want to be here alone. Everything he left behind was threatening to drag him into an emotional stupor. The war hadn't touched this small community the way it had so much of Aristotle, but he still felt like he was about to march right in the battle. Loneliness wouldn't be his current truth if he hadn't been such a fool. He could have arms wrapped around him telling him it would be okay. He could have soft, dark lips against his neck. Now all he had was the cool night air and the shrieks of flocking white-beaked birds migrating back from the southern ends of the continent. Okara then custom said that the white beaks were harbingers of death. Given the circumstances, he couldn't deny the omen. The door to his childhood home opened, and Sable didn't look behind him. He already knew who it was. His parents' maid, an immigrant from the southern tiers, was the only other person around to genuinely mourn the loss of his parents. Aldemine, you really should get some sleep. So should you, Mr. Sable. Your parents would not look kindly on me leaving you to the night. Sable laughed. It felt bitter and sad. The night is black. Black is creation. What better place could I be? He wanted to scream. Every part of him demanded release. His flesh craved satisfaction. His heart sought an unattainable forgiveness. Mom always said he kept himself locked up in sorrow. He wanted to scream. They loved you. I should know. Alamine came to his side at the porch. Her hair was done in a style so similar to his mother's, rich black hair made into two long braids. Mom always said simple attire made for easy living. Aldemine seemed to have taken that advice to heart, with her dress, jacket, and shoes being uniformly brown. The simplicity connected him in that moment to his dead mother, the one parent who always seemed on the verge of forgiving him for all his choices. I don't doubt they loved me, but I don't think I made them happy. The first punch to the gut was when he told them what he was going to university for in Wamalo. Mom laid out all the reasons she hated that city, while Dad gave lamentations against the military. He left without saying a word, and they didn't speak for 2 years afterwards. His resentment for them was a mountain that took a long time to climb. The second blow came when he introduced them to Boren, the man he needed so badly with him now. They hated him. He was a government clerk, and Dad railed against the personal corruption it took to get to such a position. Mom didn't like his expensive fabrics, vibrant colors, and how they influenced him. But he loved Boren intensely, so they didn't speak for another 5 years. Amends came slowly through tender letters and remembered milestones. The Alcardian religion set the 55th birthday for men was to be celebrated with great fare. Sable made sure he came, and all seemed forgiven, but he couldn't resist delivering the third blow. Boren and him were married. It was the loudest Dad had ever yelled. Then came the 9-year gap. The last memory he had of his parents was their weeping. Aldemine frowned like she could see him ruffling through memories. Sable might have felt more comfortable if he could point to the pungent staff of the zunga trees in the distance as the culprit. He always hated his father making him help with the harvesting of it, but Aldemine was likely as nose-blind to it as everyone else in this small town. The financial advisor in him winced at all the lost profit for not harvesting the sap. His family never lacked for money when he was a child. As long as people in the cities wore makeup to hide the ugly insomnia of their successes, the sap would bring people fortunes in the countryside. Yet somehow his parents had no money saved. It baffled him, but he just didn't have the energy to try and unravel it. When did Dad let go of the staff? A year or so ago, Alamine said, her tone suggesting she wanted to talk about anything else. It didn't make sense. Mom and Dad loved this farm. They took absolute pride in the history behind it. Liberty and independence were what Dad said it represented, a blow against the perceived tyranny of the Red Mask. Sable didn't think they'd give all that up for some big long-term trip to Chasmick's Beach out of nowhere. Aldemine knew more than she was saying, but he didn't feel like he had the right to press. And if he was honest, he didn't want to run her away. I'm going to meet with the Elite Corps tomorrow. All the more reason for you to sleep, Aldemine said. Sable ran a hand through the tight curls of his hair. He didn't want to close his eyes. Every time he did, he saw Boren there. He saw that look of hurt, those brown eyes drowning in the revelation of betrayal, the recognition that things would never be the same. Not sure if I can sleep, Sable said. Aldemine rubbed a hand on his back, and he stifled a cry. You really should sleep, Mr. Sable. There are a lot of things I should have done. Sable did manage to finally get some sleep, but none of it was peaceful. His dreams were full of Boren and the other guy. Even saying his name felt like the deepest betrayal. He hated out his mind conjuring images of him, strong hands gripping him and pushing their lips together in furious, adulterous kisses, discovering that deceitful passion had left Boren in pieces. He woke up startled in the bed that had once felt so familiar, the bed that carried him through childhood. His parents never changed it. The better part of Sable hoped it was because they wanted to preserve some of the old days, times when they could love each other without having to build walls. Sable grabbed his sheets and pulled them to his face. He didn't want Aldemine to hear his anguish and emptiness. Mr. Sable, I made breakfast, Aldemine called from the kitchen. She sounded happy in her work. The smell hit him halfway down the stairs. Ogre-triched egg and steamed okra. It was always his favorite as a child. The spotted pink eggs were starting to become more and more expensive ever since the purple mass took a few of the coastal cities. How much had this kindness cost Aldemine? He put it aside and tried to prepare himself to receive this generous act. He smiled, though he imagined it looked painfully false as he walked into the kitchen. His movement must have been quiet because Aldemine jumped and quickly stuffed something gold-plated into her pockets. It looked like a medal, probably something from the Southern Tiers, but he shouldn't pry. A plate was set out for him. Scrambled ogretrich eggs, red pepper, salted okra, and a cup of mango juice. But it was just one plate. Are you not going to eat with me? Aldemine laughed. Of course not, Mr. Sable. My place isn't at the table. Well, I would prefer not to eat alone. She looked uncomfortable with what he was suggesting. He wondered what his parents set down in terms of rules. As tyrannical as his father felt the red masks were, he couldn't imagine him imposing strict rules of decorum on Aldemine, so her hesitance must come from her alone. Do you not trust me? I'm sure my father must have told you stories about what I do. The woman wrung her dark hands and the wrinkles on her face suddenly looked more pronounced. I heard plenty about your father's political leanings, and yes, he had more than a few complaints about what you did, but never did he imply that you were anything less than a man of good character. Sable used his fork to cut into his peppers. You're from the Southern Tiers. What does your country think of Aristotle's problems? We are as divided as you are. Some see the red mask as lawful, and others see the purple mask as trying to assert what's right. It all depends on who you ask. Sable continued eating, hoping that Aldemine would sit down. They say the purple's leader, the white mask, is something to behold, a mad woman in a fight. Yes, I've heard these stories. He could see he was making her uncomfortable and sighed. Where would you normally be after serving breakfast? A little smile crept on her face. I would tend to the flowers until your mother is ready to go to the nursing home and read stories. She was very punctual, and they always knew to expect us 30 minutes after the town breakfast horn. It was one of our favorite things to do. Sable nodded, returning the smile. Then perhaps you should head that way. The last thing I need is my mother scolding me from a car's abode. I'm going to see about their funeral arrangements. Aldemine walked by and put a hand on his shoulder. Be gentle with the liqueur. Sable wasn't sure why Aldemine asked him to be gentle with the liqueur. The man looked absolutely terrifying. His sunken face, wide eyes, and flat lips gave him a grave quality that Sable had to guess scared little children. If anything, Aldemine should have said a prayer or two for him. The liqueur sanctuary was a small place without much in the way of decoration. The walls looked like crumpled up brown paper, the building having been exposed to too many years of humidity without repair. Strange that the religion of his parents dictated that no sanctuary be properly kept. Some nonsense about the natural course of life being symbolic in the rise and fall of a sanctuary. Sable thought the practice foolish and not at all cost effective, but that was why he dealt with numbers and his parents hadn't. The liqueur was dressed in a long black gown with a thick gold rope tied around his waist. Smaller black ropes were tied around his wrist. If Sable remembered correctly, the ropes were supposed to be symbols of the struggle that the great heroes of the past faced when taking on the forgotten white dragons, or some other such tale. It was said that sympathizers to the Purple Mask painted red dragons across the country to draw a comparison. Boren called the graffiti pointless and detrimental to the overall character of the country. Love had prompted Sable then to agree and push his opinion of the matter to the side. Your parents will be greatly missed. The man's voice sounded as grave as he looked. Sable wondered how he kept any congregants at all sounding a step away from death's door. They were great members of this community, Sable said, trying to muster up a pleasant tone. He didn't want to hurt he didn't want the hurt of his relationship with his parents to come through his words here. That was his business, and he didn't feel like sharing it. Dealing with Aldemine and her sad, demanding eyes was hard enough. The liqueur searched Sable, and it made him almost want to squirm under his seat. He hated this scrutiny, the kind that made you question if someone could peel right through the layers of you and see the core. That's why Sable avoided religious leaders. They all seemed to come equipped with that ability. I know your parents did not approve of who you loved. That could not have been an easy thing. Sable could almost feel the color leaching from his skin. Just how much had his parents told this man? Yes, no, it wasn't an easy thing, but my father always had issues with the government. The Licor nodded. Yes, he had some significant problems with him. Spoke to me of the virtues of the growing purple mass movement in the days before the war. Sable frowned. Yeah, sounds like him. Do you know why he hated the government so much? The red mask and my family haven't always had a pleasant history. Yes, I know. The animosity stretches back a while. Licor moved to a corner and opened a small gray box. He pulled out a long black stick, put it to his lips, and it immediately burst into flames without a match in sight. He went to one of the sanctuary's candles to pass the light on. A soft vanilla scent wafted in the air as he approached Sable again. You weren't raised in this religion, yes? I wasn't. Mom and Dad found it when I was away at university. Yet you never wanted to join them in following? Sable shook his head. Please take no issue with this, but religion has never been my thing. The Licor laughed, and there was an expression far more friendly than anything else on his body. Religion wasn't always my thing either, Mr. Sable. I'm not here to try to convert you. Sable let out a breath that he didn't know he was holding. I'm sorry for making assumptions about you. Just that in Relimu, religion is frowned upon for being outrageously false. Same could be said for most folks from the city. You have their clothes, but certainly not their temperament. This town has stayed in your bones, at least in that fashion. Sable didn't want to deal with that truth at the moment. I would like for my parents to be buried in the Okuridan tradition, Sable said, reaching into his shirt pocket and producing a folded piece of brown paper. These should be all the funds you would need to make that happen. The Licor held up a hand. Okuridan tradition does not allow for payment of burials. It is a bad omen to do such. There is only one thing that we ask of you. Sable felt a thick knot form in his stomach. And what's that? A relieving of the heart, the Licor said. The one who surrenders Okaru's children to the earth must have a clear heart, or those children will be lost getting to his abode. Sable sat down in the pew and put his hands on his knees. What would this little ritual entail? He didn't want to do this. He just wanted to grieve the way he felt best and be on his way. Why did trying to respect his parents have to be so damn hard? They always demanded so much from him, and even now from beyond the grave, he could feel their insistence on him doing this. Okay, tell me, how do I relieve my heart? Talk with me. Tell me how you really feel, and I'll tell you what to do about it. Sable flinched. I don't even know you. Sometimes strangers make the best diaries. The Licor smiled, skin going taut. Sable closed his eyes, rubbed them, and then massaged his temples. His shoulders sagged a little. Okay, let's do this. Let's talk. Your parents. Why do you think they didn't like your choice in husband? The Licor asked, taking a seat and stretching his legs. Because he worked for the government. My dad assumes anyone involved with the government has got to be up to no good. That's why he was so damn mad at my occupation within the army. Financial advisor, right? Sable nodded. He thought I was just going through a rebellious phase, doing something to piss him off. I think me bringing Boren home was the thing that solidified to him I was really making the choice. And your mother? How did she feel? Sable scoffed. Hard to tell if she ever felt at all, to be honest. She just went along with whatever my dad wanted. I didn't think she really gave much of a damn about how I felt. She was just going through the motions. Why? Sable shrugged his shoulders. Love, loyalty, I don't know. I just wish she had been able to spare some of that devotion for me. The Licor pointed his fingers towards the center of his chest. Part of this relieving of the heart is for me to help you fill in the pieces you don't know. Not so that you're forced to forgive, but so you can have the real picture. Okay, go on. Your mother was the secretary of a prominent red mask in her youth, the Licor said. Sable rocked back to the revelation. His mother had never once made mention of this. How do you know? Okaru's children are called to confess all to him. I know quite a bit about your parents, the things they were scared to tell you and the things they wish they would have. But a red mask? I don't see how my dad wouldn't have ranted and raved about that. The Licor raised an eyebrow. He certainly did to me. But there were things he didn't want to make your mother relive. Sable could feel his heart beating faster. What things? The red mask she worked for took a strong liking to your mother. He wanted her to marry one of his sons. A cruel, disgusting thing. Your mother would have no part of it and refuse. But you know better than I that you don't embarrass the red mask. Sable had heard enough stories in the city. I do. So, this red mask uses resources and murdered your mother's family. That's why she didn't have any siblings. It's why you never saw your grandparents. Sable blinked hard as he tried to digest the words of the liqueur. But she always told me to protect you. See, she didn't want you to have the hate in your heart that she knew festered in hers and your father's. She wasn't being cold to you to be spiteful. She just wanted to shield you from herself. Sable took a moment before speaking again. But that's not fair. She should have told me. Perhaps. And what about my dad? What's the big tragedy he hid from me? The liqueur smiled. No such tragedy, I'm glad to say. No, your father was just an idealist who saw all the things wrong with the world. He saw the sadness that never really left your mother and was infuriated by it. Sable sighed. So that's it? I don't feel like my heart is relieved. No, that's not all. We need to talk about exactly how they died. Sable went cold. He was sure his blood was blue and icy. What do you mean? I thought it was an accident. No, Mr. Sable, it wasn't. Your parents died in a fight. A fight? Come on, my parents never even as much as lifted a shovel to smash a bug. As I said, your parents hid much because they wanted to protect you. Both of your parents spent time in the military. That's how they first met. Sable felt like his whole world was crashing down all around him. Soldiers? But I know this is a lot, and we don't have to do this all at once. Sable held up a hand to stop him. No, we keep going. If I leave, I don't think I'll come back. Very well. Their parents were military, and they fought in the war against Chasmic a few decades ago. Chasmic? That's where Alderman said they took the trip and had the accident. Your mother got her fair share of combat awards. It led to a cushy job with the Red Mask. Was she with my father then? No, he was out and about in the world trying to find himself. The war left him in a broken place, and he wanted to make sense of it all. The liqueur said the words whimsically, like he was missing an old friend. So, was their death actually an accident? The liqueur leaned forward and sat a hand on Sable's knee. Your parents didn't just sympathize with the Purple Mask. They were among some of its top commanders. They were assassinated. Sable didn't speak, couldn't speak. Too many puzzle pieces jockeyed to fit with one another in his mind. Finally, he bit back his tears, his rage, and let the words out. They should have told me. If they had ever been exposed, you would have been in real danger. Fighting their fight and you being in the city was torturing them. They should have told me. The liqueur nodded, as I said to them many times, but they hoped that maybe you not knowing might protect you if worse came to worse. Where did they die? In Chasmic? Sable asked, a tear running down his face. And this is where I tell you what to do. Liqueur stood up, hands folded in front of him. Go home and talk to Aldemine. Ask her for the ebony box. Sable left without a word. Aldemine was sitting down in the kitchen, penning a note when Sable walked through the door. She looked up, eyes welling. So you know, he wanted to be angry with her, but he couldn't find the strength for it. Next to the note she penned was a gold medal. She had tucked it away quickly this morning. It must have been something his mother earned. I know enough of it, but not all, Sable said. Why didn't you tell me? I am a servant of this household, and I loved your parents. Even in death, I abide by my oaths to them. Alamine said with the firmness he had never heard from her before. She was such a gentle woman, and he knew in that tone just how much she loved his parents. Sable still felt like crumbling. They let me hate them to protect me? Yes, and they ate at them for a very long time, but they loved you, my dear. They truly did. Sable reached out and hugged Aldemine. You have to show me where the ebony box is. She nodded. Come with me. They went outside and out into the fields until they reached the wooden panel in the middle of it. Aldemine bent down and undid the latch, pulling back the panel. She stepped aside so that Sable could get to it. He stepped forward, his heart threatening to beat right out of his chest. So much had been laid before him in such a short time, and he wasn't sure if he was ready for this. But his parents deserved to be buried, and that meant finishing this ritual. He'd have them in a car was aboard if it was the last thing he did. Dropping to his knees, Sable dug his hands into the panel and pulled out two purple masks, the ones his parents were out being revolutionaries in. Burn marks were on both, and a crack ran down the cheek of the larger one. He held the mask close to him and rocked back and forth, careful with the last vestige of his parents' love. He never wanted to let this go, couldn't let this go. What are you going to do now? Audemars asked behind them, gentle as ever. Sable looked up at her, full of resolve. First, I'm going to bury my parents. Then, I'm going to see about finishing what they started.
Oh man, that was lovely. Thank you so much, Brent.
Thank you, thank you. No, I appreciate it.
Oh man. Um, Typically here at Story Hour, we just pause between readers. We take a breath. We have let the silence in a little bit, let the work sort of resonate a little bit before we move on to the next part of the program. So we're going to do that right now. We're just going to take a chill moment and then we'll move on. So deep breath and all that. All right, Brent Lambert, folks. Thank you so much, Brent. Our next reader is Jen Brown. Jen weaves otherworldly tales about Black queer folks righteously wielding power. Fuck yes. An Ignite Award nominated author, her short stories have appeared in Fi Literary Magazine, Tor.com's Breathe Fi anthology, Anathema Spec from the Margins, Baffling Magazine, and other places. Find more of her stories at jencbrown.com or enjoy her rambles on cats, media, and libraries at Jen Brown Writes on Instagram and Blue Sky. Jen, take it away.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Brent. I'll chat you later to cry about that because that was really great. So I will be reading this evening from a piece called To Rise Blown Open, which was published in the wonderful Anathema magazine Spec from the Margins. And I want to give a brief trigger warning for folks that this piece does mention bodily trauma, the loss of family members, and general grieving. You should know, when calamity sundered the skies, I was minding my business, loading groceries into the car, rock, paper, scissoring with Mr. Marvelous and Watrella to see who'd drive home. Mundanity, polyamorous domesticity, all the stuff you'd encouraged me to do while on so-called sabbatical these months. Now the sky is breaking. It buckles, dripping entrails from another dimension, which feel out of place above our grocery store. You're probably seeing this from Union headquarters. I'd pay good money to watch baby supers with their budding powers and frigid idolatry quaking as 73-year-old Dawn Obsidian, majestic, telepathic heroine, chews out blackening skies. Though, at least you're inside. I experience the full brunt of what follows. First, gravity uncoils with what I can only describe as a dry snap. Dropping grocery bags, I drift skyward, and downtown Los Angeles lurches, its skyscrapers and construction cranes rippling between darkened realities. The distant snow-capped San Gabriel Mountains tremble, groan, really. It's like I can hear them, as if 500 fault lines shudder before a darkened maw overhead. Like a stain, it spreads, black devouring blue, flaying the sky to reveal worlds unknown. A lavender gas giant that definitely isn't Jupiter fills the foreground. Through the terror addling my mind, I realize it's pulling us like ants in orbit. Now, I can't recall any of your emergency drills. It was my job once, one I'd really like back, but hurtling toward unknown space makes curd of my insides. Plus, I'm still pissed at you. Instead of remembering, I stretch toward those I love, toward Marv, who swims against air, grasping for his prosthetic gauntlet, toward Watrella, who activates her union-provided implant, probably to reach you, right before a voice interrupts, crashing through our minds. My implant flares, and I can't hear myself scream. Soon, that ringing gives way to laughter, nasally and hollow. Dr. Calamity's laugh. Every good hero needs a nemesis. You joked about this decades ago when I was still a gangly teen, upset at the world. I felt jagged, ill-fitting, both too much and never enough. You said we bore generations of rage, that it was buried beneath our melanin, stoked through centuries of subjugation and supremacy. Now, minstress, go ahead and get mad, you'd say. But sooner or later, rage will eat you out of house and home. Your teachings return to me while I careen skyward toward a sky broken by my nemesis, no less. I have long realized something, Dawn, a benefit of living limbed with rage. Anger fuels too. And right now, I'm fucking furious. Within hours, several things happen. Scientists at your lauded International Union of Heroes pull a lever somewhere, temporarily righting gravity. Meanwhile, you call in the best, augmented and naturals alike. Nidorella arrives by helicopter, donning aug appendages tapered to terrifying points. Tankheart and Bolt Boy, Nats both, arrive with their innate powers readied. In fact, you call in every super comprising the Greater Los Angeles Ass-Kicking League, except for me. Disappointing, but expected. After all, I've come to change your mind. Now, babe, Watrella begins. She's parked us near IUH's headquarters and watches me warily. You're taking the car straight home. Agreed, Marv adds, before the sharp planes of his face soften. Though, given who's stirring the shit this time, we're here, Kendra, to listen, support, whatever you need. It's sweet, but not Watrella's brand of sweet. She cuts lovingly, fiercely through the suggestion with one of her own. We'll talk once Calamity's captured. For now, nothing else needs saying. Her fingers twine through mine and Marv's, connecting us. Go home, love. Wait for us, she implies. Shit, that's all I've done since our last Calamity showdown. So, and I mean this kindly, fuck that. They mask up. Marv fits his prosthetic gauntlet into place, securing it just below his elbow, and Watt tosses me the keys. I kiss assurances into their knuckles. I sell the ruse by starting our car while they head inside. 15 minutes later, I've stolen through the mailroom. Stacked packages do provide excellent cover. Doggy paddled through another gravity fluctuation and reached the 10th floor, where, blessedly, my keycard still works, all before you've finished briefing everyone. You've gathered the ass-kicking league in a closed meeting room at the end of a frantic, paper-strewn hallway. I pace just outside, ignored by staff, busily gesticulating at the windows, their mouths agape. Once the meeting's over, everyone streams out. My former teammates, my friends, really. Their expressions shift upon seeing me, but you just snort, while a good Lord expression deepens your frown. Kendra, Tankheart says, rushing over. I wink at my partners, enjoying Marv's impressed smile and Watt's flattened glare, before the lanky super crushes me into a hug. Oh shit, they exclaim, eyes alight. Does this mean the band's getting back together? Before answering, I'm swarmed with more hugs, forcing me to dodge one of Nidorella's wayward limbs and more questions. That depends, I catch your eye. But don't count me out. I'd make a good roadie at least. Chuckling, Tank herds my former squad into nearby elevators, leaving you and I to an awkward silence. I wait for its departing ding before stepping into your path. It's time for a truce. You may not want to hear this, I say, but you need me. I need a break from your incessant shenanigans. That I know. Here we go. I fall into step with you. And yet, I'm the best super for this job. It's simple. Dr. Calamity controls bioorganic and machine tech, and I'm the gnat who psychokinetically controls technology. Need I remind you what happened 2 months ago? No, I want to say, but it sounds pouty. I settle for she kicked my ass. Trust, I remember. Correction, Kendra. She embedded genetic malware inside your cells. Waltzing into your office, which still brims with leafy plants and creamy neutrals, you pin me with a glare. She tricked your organs into almost destroying themselves. Baby, that's more than an ass kicking. Suddenly, your telepathy spiders my body like woven netting sinking below skin. I sense kindness. You survived, I feel you say. Let that be enough. Yet surviving isn't living. It's been months. I've trained, my movements improved, and my timing's back. I don't finish that thought because so fast that it startles me, you retrieve a cell phone from your desk. It thumps against the wood grain, glossy screen landing face up. All right, move that. You shrug. It's got some of Calamity's malware on it, same as before. Show me this new and improved mindstress. Suddenly, I'm a fish plucked from comforting seas. I only work with e-waste now. It's safer that way. I don't say for everybody, but your grim expression tells me you understand. I expect derision, disbelieving laughter, maybe. Instead, you search me again, sift through my anger. Desperate, I allow you this glimpse. I hope foolishly that you'll unearth whatever trust you need to grant me field work again. It's awkward staying silent while you probe, so I fixate on magazines framing your walls. There you are, proudly occupying one 1968 cover, garbed like a Black Panther Power Ranger. In 77, your slick cat eyes just visible beneath an ornate mask. Everywhere you loom, gigantic, triumphant, even unscathed. By the time your telepathy abates, your frown could level cities. Kendra, you're not seeing active squad time. Though, if you really want to help, you toss me a clipboard. Bring your tactics to the desk. For fuck's sake. I owe Chantel. I stop myself. Correct myself. Calamity. I owe her. Decades of practice and one name undoes you. Your telepathy unfurls, growing thick enough to wring truths from the walls. You'll have to get in line. We're kindred when it comes to power. Telepathy and telekinesis go hand in hand. It's why I found myself in you all those years ago. Why I accepted your guidance the moment you offered it. Still, we aren't kin. I once loved Calamity boundlessly, but you still do. No matter what she's become, she'll always be your granddaughter. But to me, she's the one who sundered us. You sigh into the silence, thread words through my mind. I won't risk losing you again. We should face her together, break beneath the weight of shared bonds, if it comes to that. But you'd rather cleave us with distrust and empty declarations. Ain't that some shit? On my way out, I fling you one last thought, and I mean for it to hurt. You already have. 2 weeks pass. 2 weeks filled with a brand of chaos only Calamity could conjure. 14 days of reeling, clawing at the question, what the hell do I do now? Planning's difficult given the circumstances. For starters, we can't distinguish between night and day anymore, courtesy of not Jupiter shining through the sky tear. Worse, Calamity's dredged up another distraction, rewired delivery bots. Now, the squat, cooler-sized couriers terrorize shin bones across the country. Sprinkled in continued gravity fluctuations, and you've got a world under siege, but for no clear reason. This is all a feint. It has to be. There have been a few serious injuries, but nothing's barreled through the rift. Frustrated, I rack my mind for answers, wait powerlessly for Marvelous and Watrella to amble home beneath the gas giant's light. Sometimes they're bruised, but they're always exhausted. When you return them to me, they remove their masks, take refuge in an inner world of our making, a world without distinctions between hero and self. There, our touch is fevered, our lips hungry. Anxiety deepens everything, sharpens caresses into claws, and guides teeth through flesh. I lose myself in them, drown beneath Marv's delicious gasp, and pry Watrella's thighs apart while she trembles. Yet your hold never lessens. Always you summon them back, preach that the world needs their bodies. Do you see the rash climbing Marv's residual limb, left in the wake of his gauntlets? Have you noticed Watrella ghosting about forgoing food the second her implant chimes? You deny me justice and claim the people I love most. I should be out there with them. Just let me come along, I beg one morning. I'll avoid our body cams. I'll use e-waste to make a debris storm too risky, Marv interrupts. Watrella scoffs, but it lacks her usual fire. Yeah, out of the goddamn question. We're not letting you near her. They silence me with kisses, but I'm fuming by the time I report for work. Work being retail hell, of course. Months ago, I found a gig selling furniture at an upscale department store. It's not saving lives and the pay is shit, but my bills aren't on sabbatical. As I pull up, a wholly different, yet oddly comforting kind of chaos greets me. Slick sale signs featuring end-of-the-world deals span from kitchenware to gardening. Marco and Daniela, college-age morning shifters, smile tensely at me while ringing up customers. I've barely hit the sales floor before an elderly woman trundles over, arguing for steeper discounts over a dented spatula she found. Woo, sweet mundanity. No, you're not mistaking my lack of enthusiasm. Hours after helping her and organizing product, I join Marco at the cash register. He nudges me. You good? There's a lull in customers thanks to LA's newly implemented gravity fluctuation alarms. They're louder than tornado sirens and use satellite data to predict when fake Jupiter will destabilize gravity. As the one outside our store blares, Marco's springy dark curls float. He yells over it. It's the end of the world and stuff, so I get if you aren't. I'm fine, I grumble. When gravity stabilizes and we've righted ourselves on the sales floor, he sighs. I feel powerless. The league's saving everybody. Meanwhile, I'm just ringing up rich people who love a deal. I clutch mocking hands to my non-existent pearls. But where will their children sleep if not on llama fur 3,000 thread count sheets? He laughs a little. Well, I'm studying comp sci. You'd think I could do something, stop the stupid bots at least. Maybe it's the lurching gravity, but Marco's words trigger a physical, full-body response. A thought, reckless and wanton, a scheme outside your protocols. Maybe you can. I slide closer. Could you hack stuff, systems and such? Calamity works digitally. She's got to be leaving trails, entering and exiting systems, nodes, computery shit that just maybe this kid knows about. Define hacking, Marco laughs. When I don't, he trails off, squints. Why? I lower my voice. Because bots aside, the person who started all this could be traced, found. Could you pinpoint Dr. Calamity's whereabouts? His hands stiffen where they grip the register. The government hasn't even found her yet. I don't have time for timidity. Grabbing Marco by his apron, I drag him to the storeroom, then lob my best heroic speech at him. You want to help? Now's the time. Don't ask me how, but I'm close to the people in the ass-kicking league. Believe me when I say they're struggling. I shake him for added effect. Real heroes don't hesitate. For a second, I think he's going to shout. For security, maybe? Instead, he nods shakily. I can't do much, but my brother's a security engineer. Marco rids the tremor from his voice. I'll talk to him. So this is what it's come to. Lying. I've become a big, fat, civilian endangering liar. Marv and Watt think I'm home, ordering takeout after a hard shift. Who knows where you think I am? I've denied your calls all week. For 5 days, I've mostly shut out Calamity's chaos, focused on rediscovering myself, on becoming a new kind of hero, the kind who faces genetic malware and wins. Tonight, I park on a nondescript block just outside of Long Beach's deserted shipping yards. I ignore obvious energy sources thrumming with current, darkened telephone poles, towering traffic lights. Instead, I don a Halloween skull mask, alabaster set atop my russet cheeks, incisors hitting my full brown lips, and get into character. You'd hate this look. But my old mask was frilly, designed to resemble circuit boards superimposed atop butterfly wings. IUH Directorate insisted it played better on broadcasts. Sure, this new mask's a touch dramatic, but it suits me. It suits what I'm about to do. Ahead, an e-waste shop looms, lonely and quiet. Sign says it's closed, but my lockpick disagrees. I'm inside within minutes, scanning the store's square footage, the number of side rooms and derelict goods lining the shop. There are boxy, wood-lined televisions, broken light grids, degraded SIM cards, abandoned VHS tapes. No live batteries humming with electricity, save for a desktop powering the cash register. No genetic malware waiting to strike. Only solder, long cooled, grime accumulated over decades. Trash turned treasure. Telekinetically, this room tastes of circuitry. Probing connections, I extend my power, surge electrons through forgotten nuclei. I bring the dead back to life. Heady, I grow dense, a planet in my own right, pulling keyboards, laserdisc players, and rotary phones into orbit. I summon every broken, abandoned thing until a cyclone rages around me, until the storm grows a throat and howls. And as my braids snatch against the swell of it, I fade, indistinguishable from the tempest. It feels good, but delicious as flexing is, Calamity doesn't fight fair. Not when we were little, playfully one-upping each other, and certainly not now. If Marco finds her, admittedly a big if, I'll have to be ready. Gingerly, I withdraw a chip from my pocket. Thumb-sized, it doesn't seem capable of ending a person. Yet you pressed it into my palm months ago, told me what lurked inside. Licking sweat from my lips, realization hits. I need to let it go. Let the storm take it, then bulwark myself as the malware senses me, as it deploys. Repel it. Maintain the cyclone and repel it. I wonder, Dawn, when you were little, did you ever spin in circles faster and faster, weightless and light and free before they told you our city would live or die on your watch? I lean into a dizzying kind of weightlessness now, just like that. Loosen my grip as Calamity's chip sails into my storm. You are magic, I tell myself. It's your refrain, after all. We're excellence manifested, beautiful and brilliant and proud. Between wires and plastic, the chip disappears. Still, I brace myself, tighten my core, plant my feet, steady my breathing. I wait and wait. Then, there, something undulates, backward scuttling through my will. It dances, sings, jubilantly refusing to hide. Hold it. I try to conjure your tenor, your tenacity, pretend this is a live mission like the days of old where you supported from the sidelines. But it's too fast. It races, zigzags and darts, nips at my ankles and my eyebrows before sticking barbed binary tongues into the hollow of my neck. I can't do this. Doubt snaps my kinetic tether, and debris goes flying, striking glass, clattering against the concrete walls. There's only silence, sweat, and the light pressure of food climbing my esophagus. I take off, legs and arms pumping, skull mask slipping. My car peels from the curb, and before long, I've reached home, snot-mouthed from hiccup sobbing. Inside, Marvelous and Betrella await, their expressions puckered by my betrayal. Clearly, I wasn't home enjoying takeout. Still, their anger flees once they get a good look at me. What happened? Marv demands. Where were you? Watt sobs. They're at my side in seconds. All I want is to peel out of my sweat-slick clothes, to have a hot bath and scour the weakness from my skin, to return to the unstoppable mindstress of old, cloaked in debris storms dark as pitch. Instead, I tell them everything. For a brief, terrible moment, I worry that they'll tell you about my enlisting Marco and training with genetic malware outside your auspices. Instead, my partners remove that ridiculous skull mask, clean the snot from my lips, and listen. Watt picks plastic from my tangled braids. Marv holds us both. When I regurgitate what feels like a year's worth of anguish, Watt whispers, whatever you need. We're with you. Always, Marv adds. Turns out it's that simple. To love one another, past duty. Amid their touch, I forget the e-waste shop. Remind myself that together we're unstoppable. I'm not Calamity. I don't abandon my loved ones. Now, tangled in their sleeping arms, I stare at my phone. Consider calling you. After all, I led the ass-kicking league because I forge paths, and I find allies to walk them with. I miss you. Though it won't reach you, I conjure this thought before exhaustion takes me, pull it from the gristle in my chest. I miss you, Dawn. But morning comes, burningly bright, and Marco texts, Founder. It seems there's no time for middle ground. Marv, Watt, and I concoct a plan. They'll keep up appearances at your morning briefing. I'll race into work, pass on what Marco's discovered. The League will then be free to converge outside your command. Dressing quickly, I crawl through surface street checkpoints, avoid stray bots roaming the store's parking lot, and find Marco inside. Were you followed? He asks, leading us to the storeroom. Does anybody know you're here? The League knows, I frown, hesitant. They're ready to act on whatever you've got. Where is she? Marco averts his gaze, and I realize something's off. Not his nervous energy, because finding an infamous supervillain would make anyone jittery. It's the terror-stricken expression he wears while reaching into his backpack, retrieving his laptop, and opening it. Inside that bright screen, Calamity smiles. She found us, Marco says, setting his laptop on the ground. I hardly hear him over my pounding heart. Said we had to show you this. He doesn't say I'm sorry, but it's etched into his retreat. Now the room feels smaller, my chest tighter. Below, my nemesis sits tall before a digital backdrop, a vast open sea bracketed by her broad shoulders. Pixelated gulls seem caught mid-soar, trailing behind her pink twists. Trembling, I press play. Hey, sis. That sis conjures up memories of all the time she'd said it endearingly. Now Calamity sounds gleeful, like she spun a web and I walked right into it. Good to see you. Activating my implant, I open a private channel with Marv and Watt. We have a problem. While they wring details from me, Calamity prattles. She's fervent, salivating over her shorn sky. Am I to understand, Calamity begins, Granny benched the incomparable mindstress, which forced you to work retail? She laughs, sharp and hollow. Tell me how it feels, Key, to lose the things you love. A reel as something viscous thuds inside my ears, thicker than blood. It crowds out sound, stifles my breathing. Still, it's nothing compared to losing people. Fury limbs her words, skewering me through pixels and glass. Then she whispers like we're 12 again, trading secrets in Dawn's backyard. I found her, Key. It took breaking the sky, but I found her. And this time, I'm gonna fix what you and Granny destroyed. Ringing assaults my ears. I choke around memories clawing to the fore. Antiseptic hospital rooms, searingly white beneath fluorescent lights, staggering to and from the ICU, hunched and wet-eyed, listening numbly as doctors declared your daughter, Chantel's mother, brain dead. Everyone goes, yeah. But for some, it's painful. Aaron suffered. Calamity snorts, sounding just like you. Now leave me to my work, especially since you've got bigger problems. Let's see if you find it before it finds you. The screen goes black. Kendra, talk to us. Watt's pleading returns me to myself, to the dim storeroom, the dark computer screen, and a roiling stomach. Marv, we need to move. Already on it, Marv chimes. Ken, we're coming. Hold tight. Words die beneath my tongue. I love you both. I want to say, if I go, take care of each other. But I refuse to go painfully or otherwise today. Running, I emerge from the storeroom caught between two worlds. In one, I roam the sales floor, rounding customers and overpriced throw rugs, eyes peeled for Calamity's threat. In another, I'm years away, huddled inside a private hospital meeting room. It's overly large, meant for families discussing end-of-life care. Only Chantel and I pepper it, empty-eyed, as you decide Aaron's fate. Marco gestures from my periphery, calling out, but something small, mini-voiced, snatches my awareness, and then there's no time for updates. Something's coming, but I can't tell from where. Still, I knew back then. The moment Aaron's chest stilled and Chantel wailed, I knew she'd ask me to will current through those machines, to breathe life into her mother once more. Damn it! I spin, desperately, telekinesis surging. Nearby, shoppers stare. My frantic mind conjures an old mantra, one that got me through Aaron's funeral. Death comes for us all. I am not the reason she's gone. Then I sense it. Malware, odorous and pungent, surging from someplace, many-tongued and single-minded. Think, that which I can't see, that which surrounds me. Wi-Fi. It's pinging through the connection, searching out the node my implant uses when producing telemetric data. Trembling, I've got seconds and few choices. Disable a router somewhere or succumb? You used to drill us with manufactured scenarios, split-second judgments based on a crisp, unrealistic binary. Black or white, life or death. I can stretch across 2 floors to find the source, or repel it. Shouting, I extend my awareness, grasp at malware, spidering the Wi-Fi along the drywall and glass storefront. Cash registers careen toward me, light fixtures twist from overhead sockets, and wayward cell phones rush toward the event horizon of my will as I reach for the thing coming to end me. Then I break. When the deed is done, and I've wrung the last bit of malware from my pores, my throat is raw and there's little left standing inside the store. Air rushes through what were once windows. Customers and staff are strewn across tables, overturned couches, and jarred dinnerware. Nearby, Marco lies unmoving, save shallow breaths expanding his chest. Gate-mouthed, I stagger, hear the powdery press of my foot stepping into something. Tech. I'm stepping into all the Wi-Fi covered objects I culled. They surround me now, soft and vaporized. Confectioner's sugar tinged with acrylonite. I did this. Destroyed things I've only ever been able to move, to summon, not break. Everybody changes, right? Not like this, you'd probably say. Standing beside you now, inside your Plus office, I feel strangely calm, or maybe comatose. They're hard to differentiate. You haven't spoken since I arrived hours ago, since Marv and Watt pried worried fingers from my flesh. Turns out, vaporizing things burns pretty bad. And let me come to you. Instead, you stare at the sky that's begun to mend, Clouds knit, birds retake their domain. There was another world through that thing you say so quietly I almost miss it. Another Earth. She found Aaron then. Your nostrils flare, and whatever secret force held you up all these years flees. Suddenly you look your age. She asked her to come here, to come home. I have so many questions, but they're sap sticky, hard to grab amid the muck. I settle on, is she coming home? Your silence is answer enough, but you say, Dr. Calamity has turned herself over to the Union. I should feel exuberant, triumphant, like all those dawns splashed across the magazine covers surrounding us. I won. We won. I vaporized tech today, I croak. A telekinesis, it's changed somehow. It isn't a thing that lifts or commands. Now it decimates. I want to ask, to beg, did you ever feel this way? Did someone hurt you enough to give your scar tissue teeth? I worried as much. You direct your words to the window, hardly blinking. In moments, the last sliver of black disappears. Blue skies, unending, stretch on. I'd ask you what comes next because you've mapped a version of the hero's journey along your weathered palms, thwarting challenge after challenge. This, though, this raw unknown is our new map, splayed wide. I'm coming in on Monday. Tentatively, I wrap my arms around you, squeeze while you shudder into my shoulder. Okay? Your telepathy blankets me, but you don't send a thought. Instead, you speak with your arms. You cling to me. You let your breaths harshen and your facade fall. You cry. I hold you. And I give myself permission to brokenly face the unknown by your side. No answers needed.
Yeah. Jen Brown, folks, lovely work. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all so much.
And thank you as well, Brent Lambert, for joining us. What a program tonight, Laura. Just amazing work.
They just did not stop.
No, it did not stop.
Just
That's
did
right.
not stop.
We had a breather about midway. We got to breathe. But, oh man, what a program. Another amazing story hour. What a privilege to be able to do this every week. I want to thank our wonderful authors tonight, Jen Brown, Brent Lambert. Y'all can come back anytime. Thanks so much for joining us and sharing your work. I want to thank my amazing co-host, Laura Blackwell, and all of you for coming back every week and just making this what it is. Good night, everybody. See you next time when we will have Joe Miles and Ash Fine. Bye, folks.